Welcome to obrosproperties.com, where you can get cash for your home, see their investment homes, see their move-in ready homes, sell a home, or buy a home. And now, here they are, the Oliver Brothers.
We're here once again with the O-Bros, which that's what I like to call them, Oliver Brothers. Mm-hmm. And we're
O-Bros.
We're going to talk real estate investment. So, right off the bat, I want to talk about 2-year flips. Now, explain to me what exactly that means.
That would be a very, very slow backflip.
It's kind of just another way of looking at a flip. You know, you watch the TV shows and they get instant money. But there's something to think about with a 2-year flip, especially now that the market's getting a little bit tighter and the numbers are getting closer. One of the big things right now that a lot of people think about is capital gains. You turn around and you take a property and you purchase it and resell it, and you do that within a year's time, you're going to get hit with capital gains tax. That's a huge chunk of your profit gone right down the drain right there.
Yes.
And the way that the markets are right now, if you actually will set your mind to thinking about more of a 2-year flip where you purchase a property, still pennies on the dollar, and you're going to go ahead and fix it up. You want something in a nice area. We call it maybe a B-class neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. What's that? I only know about A-class. I'm just joking.
I've only read it. You know, there's different levels and everything, but you can get yourself a good quality home for a reasonable price in a B-class neighborhood and get good returns as far as rent. So let's say we go ahead and buy something, and let's go for $100,000, and we put $20,000 into it in rehab. Costs and everything. Usually in a B class, you're not going to have major rehabs, hopefully. But anyway, let's just say we're going to do $120,000 and we can rent this place for $1,400 a month.
Yeah.
That's money in your pocket, and the equity is continuing to grow. So if you can think about it as a 2-year flip, make the money month to month on tenants in place, then think about the amount of equity that you're going to gain in the market as it grows in the next 2 years. Plus, you're not going to get hit with capital gains tax turning around and flipping it. Yeah, flipping is fun and immediate money, and like, wow, I just made $35,000, $40,000. This is fantastic. But if you think and be a little bit more patient for a 2-year flip, you may be adding $60,000 and not be hit with that huge gains.
Am I correct in thinking that, like, with a 2-year flip, unlike when you're going for that instant money, having a tenant in there, you can obviously use some of the money that's coming in from rent to offset the payment that you're already paying on the house, correct?
Absolutely. These are numbers you want to run before you actually sign pen to paper. You want to make sure that, okay, this is what I'm going to be paying out each month. This is what I'm going to be bringing in each month. This is how much I'm going to set aside each month for when little Johnny, has an accident and the toilet overflows or whatever may happen. These things happen. So you always want to put a set aside. And if you still have the numbers where you're still up above, this is a good buy to have. And then you also want to look at the trends. How fast are these homes selling in this neighborhood, and what's going on around this neighborhood? Because if a B neighborhood is surrounded by a wonderful A neighborhood, there's nowhere for that B neighborhood to go but up. It has nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, it's like inevitable. Do you find that a lot of people don't want to do like a 2-year flip because the allure of some of these programs and television shows where people are flipping things immediate is kind of
2 months.
It's also, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but I watch some of these shows and sometimes I'm like, I don't think that's realistic. I think that obviously it's just a show. Edited. It is a show.
It is. It's edited.
Because a 2-year flip to me sounds not only extremely attractive, but I've been talking to my wife, lately about, how it would be nice if we could find, a place maybe somewhere, in a B neighborhood or maybe even a little bit less, but we're not going to get into it for like the instant money. We're going to get it into it for the long haul so we can have tenants and we can, get some of that income coming in, not only to offset the cost of what we're putting into the home, but also to save some of that money for more rehab to the home.
No, absolutely right, Mike?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, plus you get a lot of tax write-offs when you are providing housing. So there's a lot of benefits to holding on to it for 2 years. And I think now that our investors, as we change when the markets change, we've got to stay one step ahead, educating our investors and letting them know this is kind of the way that the market is turning right now, because the banks don't like investors. We're making money off their greed from back in 2006 and 8 and all. Yeah. So the numbers are tightening down. This is a great way to take advantage of that.
Plus, whenever you see a rehab that's $20,000 or $30,000 on a house, when you're flipping a home, now when you were making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 on a flip, who cares? Let's do it.
Yeah.
But right now, just like Dan was saying, it's a little bit tighter. When you see $20,000 in rehab, when you get behind those walls, something's going to be there. There's going to be an issue that happens.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at making $20,000, then you got to pay taxes and you got to do all this. You can't. It gets stressful.
Yeah, exactly. And I was going to bring up a couple things. First, when your clients come to you, you let them know when it comes to, let's say, rehabbing a house for a potential flip, even if it is 2 years. You give them advice about what to do, because I feel like, going back to the TV shows, all people want to do is the fun stuff, which is like, let's add a water feature to this property, or let's add an arch.
Let's demo it ourselves, and then once you break down one of the walls, you're like, oh, the guy's like, there's worse problems than we thought. We'll be right back.
Yeah,
it's all fake.
Well,
it's fake.
They want to add things that don't necessarily add that much value to the house.
2 stone lions going up to the door.
Exactly. And so you guys also provide information to your clients, and based upon what you already know about what to actually do to the house that will add the value.
Absolutely.
And what are some of the things that will add initial?
Yeah, start with a simple thing.
You get to a house, kitchen. So
kitchens and baths.
Kitchen and bath, without question, is always going to be. Now, you got to make sure that your 4 important parts are covered: electrical, plumbing, roofing, and
foundation.
Yeah, your foundation.
The actual utility, obviously,
AC.
it has to be, but other than that, then it's like you have a super outdated kitchen, and you don't have to put, 50 G's into a kitchen.
No.
You can, IKEA makes pretty damn good kitchens.
Very nice.
Yeah. I mean,
I always want granite. In the kitchen, on the countertop, got to have granite.
Makes a big difference when selling.
Yeah, yeah. It
I'm
really
a Formica man myself.
You're a Formica guy?
Yeah.
Well, if you are flipping,
I'm retro.
but let's say you do this 2-year flip thing. You need to figure out if the neighborhood will hold granite. Now, I'm with Mike. I love granite.
Yeah, it's
I've got
nice,
to have
isn't it?
stainless steel appliances in my places, but is that what the neighborhood calls for?
Yeah.
Is the big question, and sometimes the answer is no.
So
it'd be a waste of money in that particular house in that particular neighborhood.
Does the old adage of you never want the nicest house in the neighborhood still stand?
Without question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when looking for a house, you want almost the dumpiest house in the nicest neighborhood when it comes to any sort of
you want to
flipping.
be able to do something with it. So if you've got a 900 square foot 1-1 home, and everything else is a 3-2, you might want to...
Yeah, because now you're talking about adding rooms and things that are insane when it comes to...
You want another house to set the comp, which means you want them to be the biggest, best house.
Yeah.
And that's what you're comping your house off of.
Going back to investment, this by far, I feel like, with the crash of real estate that happened in 2007 and movies like The Big Short, which I just recently saw, like now people are so scared. They're like, I'm freaked out about real estate because I don't want this to happen. I saw people lose their ass and this. Like, the fact of the matter is, like, everything is an ebb and flow, and right now we are on the incline of the wave. Let's talk about, and the best investment is real estate now compared to your standard stocks and whatever other investments there is, right?
Well, yeah, this is a great segue too, because Brexit has changed everything. If you're paying attention with that, what have we lost? 900 and change points just ourselves. Mm-hmm. The pound's down $2 trillion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The value of the dollar over the pound is astronomical, and they're pulling their money. And where are they putting? Where are all these investors putting their money? They're putting it into bonds. Okay, so right now your 10, 12-year treasury note, pretty good looking thing. So what does this mean? This means our mortgage rates are going down. We almost dropped 1 point just on Friday from this.
That's a lot.
Now what they're saying is, I think today it's at 3.6% on a 30-year fix. So that's fantastic. And now the Fed doesn't know what to do. What they are saying is hold steady. We're not going to do anything. The value right now, whether you live in your own home or you want to invest or you want to move up, it's in real estate. Interest rates are... I'm sorry.
I don't know anything about a treasury note or any of that stuff. But
okay, well, sorry about that.
Well, that's why but I mean, that's why it's the Oliver Brothers, because
he's the brains. But just kind of here.
I saw you over here playing Angry Birds. I wondered when you were going to jump in.
Over here doing Bubble Witch and talking about a treasury note.
So anyway, the point is,
I think it is 3 point something.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. So and
well said.
2.87 on a 15-year, which is sick. So refinance now. Look into. You have equity in the home you have right now. You have equity in a home that you want to buy right
Tom
now.
Tom got it right before they decided not to stay.
What do you mean?
About in over in England, buddy. I got a better rate.
Great time to go visit over there.
I concur, Dan.
Thank you, Mike.
What are some reasonable numbers that you can tell your clients if they find? Now, let's say I want to just walk through the process real quick. I go to Obros and I'm like, all right, I want to do some real estate investing, and I got some money. I want to like, let's say I got $200,000, right? I want to put into a house, and I want to do a 2-year flip, right? And so what kind of returns can I possibly see with a $200,000 investment? I know it's impossible to, like, we're just speculating, just to give people an idea about what the, like in the stock market, you can probably, at the most, you were talking earlier, Mike, at 6 or 7%, right?
Yeah.
At the most. So when I'm investing $200,000 into a real estate property, and let's say I get a renter in there, the renter is just icing on the cake, or maybe I use the renter's money for improvements on the house.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
What kind of return am I seeing on that?
It depends where you go. There's some people that want to be in Pine Hills. Pine Hills, homes are going to be a little bit cheaper, and your returns are going to be really high.
Very high.
But then there's some people that are like, you know what, I want to build more equity over 2 years. I guess I would have to talk to you and find out what your plan is. So let's say it's you just want some money there for the family, for retirement. I would go someplace where there's a good school zone, the equity is going to build, and on your money you're going to get about $1,000 a month. So your $1,000 a month will more than cover your mortgage if you're taking out a mortgage. If you're paying for cash, just hold on to that money. I'll show you how to hold on to the money and keep it for miscellaneous expenses. Keep it for...
Because that's destined to happen.
It will definitely happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, Mike and I like to see a net, around 12, 14%. That's the number we really like.
Yeah, thank you.
So here's the thing to think of is that if you're going, like you said, $200,000. All right, well, how much rent can you get? I mean, how much will somebody pay in rent? Unless you're got a home in Malibu and you rent it out by the month or something, you're not going to get it back. Maybe you can get $2,400 a month in a nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
So but you're hell set, $200,000, nice house. All right, well then I would say we're gonna get some of that money back in rent, and you're going to have wonderful tenants, and everything's going to be fine. But because you've decided to pick an upper graded neighborhood,
sure,
your equity is going to climb faster in 2 years. So as though we may not make the net on a monthly basis, we're going to make it up in 2 years when the equity grows.
Right.
So it really depends on what you're looking for.
And that's a sliding scale kind of based on the area that you want to go to, how much your rent, all of that factors into.
And of course, we want to see what the trend is in that neighborhood. How fast are they moving off the market when we're ready to sell? Is this a highly active neighborhood?
Me personally, for my rentals, I want $80,000 to $100,000 to spend on a house.
Okay.
That usually gets you a pretty decent area, surrounded by better homes.
Yeah.
Most of the time, pretty good school district, and your rent's going to be $1,000 to $1,200.
What about a person that says, okay, I'm renting right now. I have a decent job. I would like to buy a house and then fix it up while I live in it. Or basically, I'm renting it from, I'm buying it, staying in it for 2 years, then flipping it.
I got a guy that's that is having an inspection right now. Same thing. He was renting. He's got a family, and he just didn't think he could get into a house.
Yeah.
Getting him into a house, got it undervalued. He's going to stay into it 3 years, but what happens is you kind of fall in love with a house.
Yeah,
so you'll stay a little bit longer, but he's already going into it with equity.
I gotcha. And then
he'll fix it up as he lives there.
Yes, and then all of a sudden you sell it, and you may have 50, $100,000, and once you sell that house, and now you have $100,000 in cash, and
now you're moving to Windermere.
And then you're buying either buying another house or whatever you decide to do, but you're basically. The house you're living in is essentially a bank account gaining interest.
Yeah, that's
and
what you're
saying, like $1,000
the first house I bought. That's exactly what I did.
Yeah,
I bought a house at like 24 years old, 25. I sunk every little dime I had into it, building it up. I put a giant porch on it. It was a nice house, but I kept building it, and that was at the height of the bubble. Mm-hmm. So then when I sold it, man, I made a ton of money off of that house. That was how I was able to buy my ticket to live in Orlando.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did. That's a great idea.
You could house hop and keep upgrading based upon the equity in your house.
Oh,
now, is there...
My god sister does that. She lives in a house right now in DeLand, an antique house. Across the street, there was a really, really nice, even older home, that's historical. She ended up buying that one, and now they're moving everything just across the street to live into that one. They're going to rehab that one while they live in it, while they sell the other one and make a buttload of money, and then they're going to do that one, do the same thing.
I'm my investor right now.
I think it sounds fun. I don't know if it's for me, but I think it sounds really cool.
No, and he's renting, and he says, I want to buy my first house, and I want to be an investor. I want to buy my first house that's going to be in an area that's going to rent easily. It's going to draw equity, because I just plan to rent it once I move out. So that's how a lot of investors start out. Look for a home that's in a great school district, high demand. Live in it for a couple of years, then rent it out and watch the equity grow.
Now, I got to ask you guys this question, because I'm sure you get asked the question, because with movies like The Big Short, and with everybody knowing about the financial crash and the mortgage crisis and everything that happened, it doesn't seem like that long ago, even though it was. Can that happen again? And because I remember during the bubble, lots of people doing the same thing, renting houses, and then they lost it all. Now things have changed, though. So to prevent something like this from happening again, do people have to worry about that?
I don't think that something that major with the banks are going to happen.
Yeah.
But we are getting at the height of the market, and that's why. There's a lot of people here that will say it's just a shady business. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's why Dan and I excel, because people can still sell you on, flip a home. You can flip a home, but you just can't throw a dart and find a home to flip.
Yeah, I have noticed that you guys seem to be a lot more realistic about what you tell your clients and what you've told us versus other people that I've talked to, and I will not name names, but you're right. They give off a completely different attitude. You guys seem to be a lot more conservative, a lot more realistic.
And we stay with people the whole time until they're comfortable. And sometimes they'll say, hey, back off, I got it. No problem. Just, I'm here if you need me.
And to your question, again, are we guaranteed that there's not going to be another explosion and the bubble burst? Absolutely not. These things are cyclical. And that's why I like to see my investors diversify the portfolio. If you want to grab a flip or two and get yourself a 2-year flip, that's fantastic. Let's grab a couple of those. Let's do this. But I want rentals. Let's say you've got to have rentals in your portfolio, because if the bubble does burst and now everybody's getting kicked out of their homes, guess where they got to come live?
They got to rent.
They've got the money, they've got the job, they've got a bankruptcy or a foreclosure or a short sale, and they can't get another house now.
Now they need a roof.
And it's not their fault because the bubble burst again, but they have children and they want the yard and the house and the school. Hold on to your rentals, because they will come. So if this blows up, we're covered here. If it falls on this side, we're covered on this side.
Yeah. And it will come back too, because that's what people when the recession happened, people freaked out, pulled their money, or sold their properties and stuff. And then now, next thing you know, 7 years later, 6-7 years later, the value's back again to not to what it was at the very height, but all pretty close. And stock market came back, and I know people that didn't panic, things come back. So you're renting a house, and everybody needs a place to live. You continue to have the renters, and you're renting, and then all of a sudden the value gets back up to where it was before, and you're gaining all that equity in the rent, right?
Yeah, and the rents are crazy out there right now. You know, you got millennials that are coming up and they're graduating and they've got college debt. They're still living with mom and dad. You know, the generations are different. It's not when Mike and I grew up, you went to college and then you went off on your own and life was all fine and dandy, or it was supposed to be. But anyway, now for this generation, it's all different. You graduate from college, there's no job. I'm still living in mom and dad's basement. I've got student loan debt out the yin-yang. They're renters. They're not buyers yet, and they can't. And it's an unfortunate situation as the way the world's economy is right now.
It's because the Treasury note, I think.
Okay. Anyway, you're an ass.
I've always been a buyer, but no big deal.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just something to look at. You know, these millennials are not able to buy yet, so the rents are really high, and there's a lot of capital to be made on that.
Well, let me ask you a quick question before we go. Can people trust what Zillow's saying? Like,
no.
Is that? I mean, how far have you guys seen Zillow be off before?
Oh God. Well, I mean, you could
value's like $50,000.
Yeah,
easy.
Value's easy, or that it's even available. That house sold 3-4 months ago. It's not even available, and it didn't sell for the price you are even showing.
So this is not something you can go on Zillow and then do yourself. No. That's why you need Obros to not only find you the houses, because there's houses that Zillow's not listing, and I feel like people are tricked by do it yourself. There's all these tools on the internet now. And
I'll give you a for instance. How long have I been in my house?
I have no idea.
I think almost close to 4 years now. Yeah. It never appeared on Zillow. It just now is there and says it's available. That's true.
Yeah,
because I'm getting emails now. They just started. They're like, this house is available in your neighborhood. I'm like, yeah, I live in that house. Thank you.
Oh, no.
Okay, great. Wow. Okay.
There's a lot of people
unless my wife has something to tell me that I don't know about. I mean, it could be. I don't know. But seriously, that's how inaccurate it actually is. I'm getting emails from realtors that are like, oh, great. Let's talk. I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm driving into my garage right now.
So what's the first step for people? They have some money. They want to invest. Now, let me ask you this. I mean, no, this is not wise. I mean, we have an accountant that would tell us this is stupid. But what if you have a ton of money in your 401k, let's say, and you're like, man, I'm gonna take 100 G's out.
There's actually a company that works with the 401ks. It's actually a really smart move. You don't pay any taxes on it.
Yeah.
You never see the money. Actually, Dan, you work with this.
Yeah, it's a great company, and we can talk about that next time if you want to. But it's a company that'll take your 401k money, take it, and then when you go to purchase a house, you're not paying. Let's say you take $100,000 out, you're not automatically paying that 35% tax that you lose. That could be more money for more investments. It's a great program. Most of my investors have already moved all their 401ks over to this IRA system, and it's a wonderful group. So there are ways around paying those taxes.
So, I feel like people have money, and then if I can make $30,000 in profit off 2 years off money that's sitting there that's only going to make me $10,000 or whatever over the. I mean, less than that. I mean, you make it $2,000 over the next 2 years or whatever. It's it makes sense. You're right now the opportunity is out there for people to make money with their money.
And what I like about it is you've never done this before. You're thinking about using your 401k. I'm telling you, a house is worth this. You're like, okay, but the company NewView that's going to help you do this, they're going to also look at the property. So you've got another set of eyes,
Yeah, there's a backup. Yeah.
They're not just going to throw your money in anything.
Of course. Well, Obros, what's the first thing people do when they go to your website or Facebook? How should they contact you?
Probably the first. I say if you just have questions, call. We're not charging anybody for this. If you buy a house from us, that's great. We're just here to help. There's too much out there that is going to take your money or say, hey, you're going to make $30,000. But it's going to cost you this much, so you're really only going to make $3,000. Let us see if you're falling into something like that and run some numbers. We're just here to help. We're here to make money. Don't get me wrong, but we're also here to make sure that nobody goes down the wrong path.
Yeah,
we'll set you up with calculators also, so you can see how much money you would actually make. Yeah, just reach out to us on our website or call us or whatever.
We can go over
even
rehab
if you're looking to buy
closing costs.
your own house. That's an investment too.
Yeah,
gotcha.
If you're looking to get your first house, your real house, let us know. We're here to help.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks so much again.
Thank you.
Next time,
Thanks,
I'd love to explore the taking money out of your 401k because I feel like a lot of people.
I would because I've been sitting on mine. I just now got it. I just now reacquired it from my former employer.
When I first started, I pulled all mine out of the 401k. I paid every time I pulled it out, I'd pay that 35% taxes, and now I find out about this new program. It just makes me sad.
He's helped clients with that. I don't know much about it, but I know Dan's had his clients have had.
Well,
that might be the way for me to do it because I know the wife and I have been looking for an investment. I know she has a nest egg in her 401. I have a nest egg in mine, but we've been looking to invest in something else that's another kind of a passive stream of income for our family. So that might be the way to go.
Yeah, or I feel like if I want this boat, it costs $25,000 though, but I got $100 in a 401k. You flip a house, 2 years, whatever. You make it, then put the money back in 401k. You've made $25,000 by your boat. Like things like that are possible.
And boats are good investments too.
I'm just saying, how can I make my money make money?
Take your money, put it in a toilet, light it on fire, and then flush it down.
You got to live life anyway. Bros, thanks so much.
Thanks, you guys.